According to my theory, monsters with herons can be revived, Carlos added. It sounds surreal, but I conducted an experiment. I forced an animal to bear a heron and killed it. Its carcass didn't rot, and it came back to life 1 week later. This happened 4 times. 5th time I killed it to make sure it won't be able to survive, and after dissecting I found out that the heron disappeared. Miran slammed the table. You're not asking me to kill Karina, are you? He asked, furious. But Carlos was serious. Karina grabbed Miran's hand, calming him down. Carlos, is it the best option we have? She asked. Yes, then why are you hanging your head? You did your best. I'll think about it. Karina smiled at him. Squeezing Miran's hand, she asked, if it fails it might be the end of me, right? But Karina wasn't bothered at all. She found out what kindness and warmth were for the first time after coming to the north, realized what respect was, met a proper adult, and made her first friend as well. Karina feels happy and don't want to lose what she have. I don't think I can muster up the courage to try your hypothesis. I am sorry, she said regrettably. I understand, Carlos nodded, but placed a small box on the table. In case you feel like doing it later, we need to be prepared. I have discovered that there are different ranks to the heron form 1 to 3, and this is a rank 1 heron. Her opened the box. Wow, it's beautiful, Karina said. It reminds me of aurora, a phenomenon that you can see sometimes in the sky around the time winter ends, like thin, colorful drapes fluttering in the sky, Miran explained. This is a unique heron, and we need a boo the size of a fist for a human. This one is too small, Carlos said. Were there any common traits among the monsters you got this from? Miran asked, intending to find more. Such monsters have numerous scars on them. I think they had suffered lots of fatal wound. I think the more often they died and came back to life, the more scars they had, Carlos explained. When thinking about such features, Miran thought of the leader of Hetty herd. He asked Karina to go back first with Carlos and Winston. Karina hesitated at first, but Miran told her that he wasn't comfortable leaving such a smart monster alive, which could attack the duchy anytime. Understanding his reasoning, Karina agreed. Telling him to use her potion, she hugged him farewell. Back at the manor, Karina was happily painting and missing Miran's company when the butler came to her. Do you know that we closed the checkpoint in the north around this time? He asked. Yes, Karina knew it's difficult to travel to the north when the checkpoint is closed, so that's why she hurried here. The official hunt has ended, so we were going to open the checkpoint again, but the butler hesitated. We received a message about a group of people asking to pass Trot, so I came to ask what to do. Ask me? Karina was bewildered. Yes, His Grace isn't here right now, yes, but why ask for my permission? She asked, wondering. Because you might soon become the lady of the house, the butler thought, smiling, but didn't say it. I think these people are here to see you, he said instead. Me? Yes, according to the report, one of them claimed to be Count Leopold. This information utterly shocked Karina. A sense of dread hit her. As you are a Leopold as came to ask, Butler continued. Then it must be my father, Karina said, dejectedly, wondering why would his father come to North. Although Karina wasn't on good terms with her family, and she knew if Miran was here he would have chased them away, she felt like she had to meet them, so she gave the permission to let them pass. Before the butler left, she asked about Miran, if there was any message. Not yet, but I am sure he will be fine, don't worry. With that, the butler left. Alone in the room, Karina's thoughts drifted back to her father. She thought they'd just send a servant or knight, but as her father came himself, she believes it'd be good to have a proper chat for her own sake. Karina wonders if her father realizes that it's the first time he's ever gone out of his way for her. She sighed and looked longingly at a letter on the table. Miran, I miss you. Meanwhile, Gordon and Karina's Hetty were searching the mountains for any signs of the remaining monsters, but alas, they didn't find a single one. Find it quickly, don't you want to save your master? Miran reprimanded the Hetty. Are you looking for something to eat instead? The Hetty shook its head, looking almost cute. It suddenly roared and ran off. Miran and other quickly followed. Miran was desperate. Even if there was a 1% chance, he wanted to save Karina. Soon they found the Hetty's leader and a fierce battle ensued. Karina was nervous, but very happy. Miran was coming back. With all the household staff, she waited at the door for him, looking like an excited chick. Soon the doors opened and Miran walked in. Karina, it's cold. Why are you here? He fussed immediately. I wanted to meet you soon. I hurried because I missed you. You didn't get hurt, did you? She stepped closer, raising her hand to touch him. No, I didn't, but I haven't showered for a while now, he said, red-faced. Can you wait until I wash up? Yes, I'll wait in the room then. Karina wanted to hug him as soon as he came. She just became greedy. Even if I follow Carlos' suggestions, the chance for survival are low, so I don't want to become selfish. If Miran is left behind, I am going to regret. What do I do? I feel like I'll leave a big burden when I die. Karina's thought turned dark. If only all the traces and proof that Karina existed disappeared, I wonder if I'll really be able to leave them behind and die. No, I shouldn't lose hope. In the room, Karina waited for Miran and finally got her long-awaited hug. Are you all right? She asked, still in her embrace. Yes, but I am sorry. Hetty leader ran away using others as shield. I couldn't capture it. I can't leave Duchy unattended for long, so I returned, but I'll soon go back. Good job. I wouldn't have been able to take it if you came any later, Karina said, coaxing him. Karina, I heard you gave Count Leopold passage? Miran asked hesitantly. Yes. Why do you want to meet him? Because I want to properly end things between me and my family. Good. I wish you could stay by my side forever. Miran kissed her forehead and thought back to what Carlos explained. He wanted to help Karina absorb Heron before she died. Miran, do you want me to accept Carlos' suggestion? Even if we succeed, I might not live long. Karen's words pulled him to present. Yes, even then, I still want you to live another day, he said lovingly. I am not afraid anymore. Karina smiled, and they shared a kiss to mark their reunion. At the guest room, Lord Leopold and his son sat waiting. He complained about the hospitality of the northern people and how they were made to wait for a long time before allowing entry inside. Norton, meanwhile, immediately went to meet his teacher upon entering the castle. After waiting for a while, the door finally opened and Miran along with Carlos entered. Count Leopold immediately greeted Miran and soon noticed Duke Carlos too. You've come a long way. I am sure it's been a while since you last saw Karina, Carlos stated while a splendidly dressed Karina entered the room and greeted her father with a stern face. After they all seated down properly, Count Leopold immediately seized the opportunity to speak. I apologize for the sudden visit, but when I heard my daughter was causing you great inconvenience, I couldn't sit back. He spoke with fervor. Karina, wasn't an inconvenience, so don't worry, Miran replied coolly. So, what brings you to the north? Miran asked politely. Though he seemed calm and polite on the surface, he was burning with fury inside. I came here to bring back my daughter, Count Leopold said resolutely. You two may be engaged, but she can't live with you until marriage. I won't allow it, he said haughtily. You won't allow it? Miran repeated with a calm fury. Then we will just get married. That will solve the problem. Even marriages have procedures, and I also heard Karina was unwell, Count interjected. I am going to take her to the county to get her treated, he declared. So it's too early for you to get married. Karina felt disappointed. Her father still didn't ask what she wanted to do. Guess people don't change easily. I have no intention of going to capital or county, she declared with resolute voice. What? Count was surprised. Karina repeated her words, but it only infuriated him. How dare you talk to your faith like that, he yelled. What do you mean? I am being very polite. I just told you my opinion, Karina said evenly. Anfridge looked at his angry father. He was worried about this situation. He wanted to stop him. But Karina continued, I was the one who gave permission to let you pass the checkpoint. I didn't want to at first, but I changed my mind because I know you won't believe what you don't see with your eyes. I wanted to tell to things clearly lest you interpret it as you want. This infuriated Count further as he stood up and screamed at Karina. You have become arrogant while you are here? He yelled. Father, calm down, and Fridge tried to calm his father, but it was of no use. Did you come here to say something to me? 'Cause I wrote in my letter to come here if you want to say something. Of course, how could I do a thing after reading such a letter? No matter how angry you were, how could you tell your parents to treat their daughter as if she was dead? I wanted to hurt you, Karina smiled bitterly. Karina, let's have a proper conversation. Father and mother were very worried about you, and Fridge interjected. And Fridge, I have already said everything that I had to say. Karina wanted her parents to worry about her sooner. Even if it was over something trivial, she wanted them to be nice to her, treat her as kindly as they treat her siblings. She wanted their warmth. Karina, I am sorry. I should have at least cared about you more, Anfridge said looking sad. I only realized your loneliness after seeing your painting. Anfridge, I was never loved like you were. I was an outsider in my family. That's not true. You were always like that. You turned a blind eye and pretended that you understood, but you didn't. I don't want to hate you anymore, so don't say anything. Karina's face was as cold as ice. Father, I've always wanted to ask you, did you ever even loved me? My child, I may have been a bit negligent, but what parent doesn't love their child? Would you have acted like this if Abelia or Pelton ran away from home without saying anything and you heard they were dying from an illness? Would you have doubted the fact that they were sick, taken this long to come find them, and made decisions without asking their opinions the minute you were reunited with them? I am positive you wouldn't have done so. Karina didn't wait for his reply, as she knew his nature. I doubt any child would speak like this just because their parents made a small mistake. Have you forgotten how hard we worked to raise you? Yes, thank you for raising me till now. Father, I only ordered the checkpoint to be open this time without Miran's permission because I wanted to tell you this. Karina stood up, strength in her voice. I'll pay you back for the money it took to hire the nanny who took care of me and all my living expenses. And if you won't take it yourself, I'll calculate the amount and send it to Leopold Manor. What? How could you say something so ridiculous? Count screamed in anger. And I want you to erase me from the family register or report me dead. I don't want to be your daughter anymore, Karina declared. And lastly, pretend you don't know anything about Karina the painter. Karina was gripping her hand tightly. Though her face was stoic, her body was suffering from pain, which kept getting worse by the second. Karina, Leopold the Count screamed again, but Karina was not listening anymore. The pain was too much to bear. You favored my siblings more and discriminated against me, so please just accept it. Karina wanted to endure, but ended up fainting. Miran immediately jumped up and caught her. Bring her medicine, Carlos shouted as Dr. Winston prepared it. And right in front of everyone she had a seizure. The three men rushed Karina to her room, administering an emergency treatment, leaving the Leopold family behind. Miran wanted to throw them out, but Carlos reminded him to wait for Karina to wake up. She hadn't finished her conversation. You also have something to say to them, don't you? Carlos continued. Miran indeed have things to say. He kissed Karina's forehead and headed towards the reception room. Inside the room, Count was still complaining how he was told to stay behind. The moment Miran stepped inside, he voiced his dissatisfaction, but Miran wasn't having it. Now that Karina wasn't here, he didn't have to behave nicely. Get lost, he spoke rudely. What didn't you say? Count couldn't believe what he heard. I said get out of my manor if you don't want to die, Miran repeated. Ignoring his father, and Fridge asked about Karina's condition, but that only infuriated Miran more. You are being rude, Your Grace, said the Count. How could you chase us out when we are worried about our family? Miran was getting tired of his bickering. You are the one who barged into my home without permission, Miran said as he sat down, and then you shouted at Karina and badgered her. She's someone even I treat with utmost caution because I am worried she'll break. But it seems that's your odds of being polite. You'd better be glad that Karina told me about you in advance, or you wouldn't have been able to set foot in this land or go home with all you limbs intact. I am sorry I came here without telling you in advance, but I had no choice since I wasn't able to reach my daughter. I had no idea she was ill either, Count defended, but to Miran and Carlos his words sounded utterly absurd. How can he say that, Carlos, though? He himself told the Count that Karina was sick. Karina must have been disappointed about having a family like that. I am sure she must. He held back her tears and consoled herself thousands of times. She probably felt like a lone island in the vast ocean. She sacrificed her life and gave up decades of her lifespan to draw her parents who could only stay in this world for a short while, and she must have fallen into their false embrace happily because there was no one else she could find love. I wonder how she must have felt to endure so long until she left her home. Carlos sighed and decided to call out Count's ruse. Didn't I tell you about Karina's disease? Well, she was healthy, so it was difficult to believe. He replied, a little ashamed. How fascinating, Miran interjected. You make me so angry, Count Leopold. Karina has been far from healthy since we first met. She was absolutely pale and always in pain. She couldn't eat properly and wept silently every night. But then again, I doubt that someone who didn't even come to our engagement ceremony could have known. Count was left speechless. He clenched his fist. I didn't know that it was this serious. According to him, Karina never stood out, so naturally he didn't pay much attention to her. But he thought he had been giving everything to her. But Miran wasn't taking his excuses. Do you this saying that exempts you from being responsible? But since now I know I'll take her and get treated, Count said. I can't let her go. She doesn't have much time left to live, so she'll probably die on her way there, Miran said, which startled Enrich. What do you mean, he asked. Dr. Winston asked permission to explain. He explained that Karina was suffering from the worst form of heart disease. Every time she performs a miracle, it eats away at her life. Actually, it's easiest to tell if someone has heart disease from seeing the miracles, so the patient's parents are the ones who generally finds out first. Winston felt sad for Karina as he spoke. But no one discovered Karina's condition, and she kept drawing without realizing what it was doing to her. Count recalled that Karina showed him a picture when she was young, but he couldn't remember about the picture or how she looked at that team. Parents are human too. Everything is a first. Count still tried to shrug away his responsibility. Miran was getting angrier with his every word. Even if you couldn't be perfect, I feel like you should have never given up trying. This was Karina's first life too, and you were her only parents. She could only be a child in front of you, but you took all of her opportunities away. You turned your back on a child who reached for several times, and you did that for 20 years. Miran approached him as the gravity of the situation hit the Count. Do you even realize that Karina had accepted her death? Miran said as he grabbed Leopold's collar. She laughed and said it was inevitable. Just how resigned do you think she was to have reached such a conclusion? Did she really said that? Count asked weakly. Yes, she said it was all right because she was prepared for her death and she was perfectly fine. I was only able to finally have her say that she wanted to live after persuading her for a very long time. So what makes you think you have any right to come here and say you'll take her away? Miran snapped at Count. Count, if you have a conscience as a parent, then sincerely apologize to Karina and do as she says. Don't shout at her or get out. I'll consider you both my enemies if you hurt her one more time. Entire North will be at odds with your family. Count and Ifrij, finally grasping the truth, bowed and asked permission to stay. Miran asked his butler to prepare rooms for them and left the final decision in Karina's hands. Just as he left the room, Dr. Winston encountered Norton. You seem well, Winston said. Norton smiled. Now you look a little thinner, master. It's been about 15 years, Sickney. I took you and raised you like my own son. Yes, you were my savior. Norton, tell me, are you the Emily doctor of House Leopold, or are you the personal doctor of the youngest lady? Winston asked harshly. What do you mean? Norton was startled. Don't even think about playing dumb. I hoped that you'd become a proper doctor. Were you afraid that Lady Abelia, whom you adored, will be shocked by the news? No, master. I don't know what Lady Karina told you, but even at a glacé, Lady Karina don't seem healthy. There is no way you would have known. And you should have informed House Leopold if you saw the medical records I left behind, but you didn't. That's because Lady Karina always told me she was all right. Norton defended himself, but Winston wasn't stupid. Norton, henceforth, you are no longer my student. It was like the sky has fallen. Master, I am sorry. Norton pleaded desperately. I told you to treat all patients equally and not become arrogant. I couldn't forget my younger sister who died and I was helpless, so I treated Lady Abelia specially. But forgive me. Give me another chance. But Winston was resolute. I have been patient with you and gave you plenty of chances. Return your medical certificate and nameplate. You're no longer a doctor. Norton kept begging, but Winston didn't listen. 73. After a whole day of sleeping, Karina woke up finding Miran right by her side. How are you feeling now? He asked. It doesn't hurt as much as before, she replied. Karina confessed that she didn't want her father to see her weak side and she felt mad about it. She was also afraid that he would talk to Miran behind her back, but Miran assured her that he won't let him. Karina asked if Miran chased them out, but Miran told her that he didn't think she finished the conversation, so he let them stay. Wanting to resolve the matter as soon as possible, Karina asked to meet them right now. Although Miran didn't want to, as she just woke up, but her innocent face and playfully pleading eyes dissolved his resolve. But more importantly, you want to live now, right? Miran asked, and Karina said yes, smiling. I want to live with you as long as possible. Soon Count Leopold and Enfridge were escorted to Karina's room. And this time Count inquired about her health first. Seeing her fainting made him finally believe that she was really ill. I can't live long, so register Karina Leopold as dead in your records, she said with an stoic face. And don't call me your daughter anymore. Softening his tone, Count approached Karina. Don't say that, please. I know I've been very inattentive. It was my first time being a father, and I thought I was doing a good job. He grabbed her hand. I made lots of mistakes, but I only thought about things from my perspective. I am sure you got hurt on numerous occasions, but please forgive me. Listening to his belated apology, Karina couldn't stop her tears. I would have been so happy if you had said that a bit sooner. Karina lamented at only the death's doorstep she found kindness. This was your first time being a parent, she continued, but this was my first time living as well. I worked hard, desperately wishing you'd look my way. I reflected on myself, pondered and waited. Have you ever tried to put in an effort like I did? Karina asked, thinking back to all those painful moments. If you had done so before I left home, then I am sure I would have forgiven you, Count Leopold. She looked at her father, her eyes full of tears, despair and hate. Pulling back her hand, she looked defeated and exhausted. I am too exhausted. I don't have any strength left to understand you. Just living each day is draining. I don't want to think about you any longer. It's not like I didn't love you. I accept I didn't pay much attention to you like my other children. Count tried to advocate his case, but Karina wasn't listening anymore. I'll die in 2 months, so consider me dead now, than you for everything. Karina was done talking and dismissed them. But her heart was filled with sadness. Looks like she wasn't that important to her family. Karina, you are the most important person to me, so don't be sad. Miran consoled her and kissed her. A part of me hoped that they become miserable, while a part also wants them to be happy, Karina cried. Don't be sad. Should I kick them out tomorrow? Miran asked, wiping her tears. Karina just embraced him to dissolve all her sorrows. Miran, I wasn't able to sleep much these past few days, Karina confessed. Are you sick? He asked, concerned. No, because you weren't here. It felt to him like she was testing her resolve. He tightened his grip slightly, and when Karina asked him to sleep with her, he agreed readily. Next day, Leopold family was chased out, and Karina learned that Miran was also leaving. Sitting at the dining table, Miran informed her about his departure and promised that he'll come back soon. She felt reluctant to let him leave, but Miran had made up his mind to catch the heady leader and save Karina. Karina was sad at the news, so to divert her attention, he shifted the topic to Norton. Karina was surprised to know that he came to North as well. Miran didn't know Norton, only that he was visiting Dr. Winston. Karina sww meaty disinterested. Seeing her still sad, so to lighten her mood, Miran came up with something. Karina, did I ever tell you that you are my first love? So I want you to be my first in everything. Miran had high hopes with these lines that he learned from Carlos, but Karina's nonchalant reply left him defeated. But Karina was far from calm. She started sweating profusely. Are you unwell? Miran asked, worried, but Karina denied it, avoiding his eyes. Because I felt so touched. Her tone was flat. Noticing her shifty eyes, something dawned on him. Am I not your first love? Miran was furious. He slammed the table and got up. Which bastard was it? Karina was bewildered. She thought if Miran learned it was Norton, he might not survive the fury of the Duke. It was just one-sided. She tried to dismiss the situation, but that made Miran even more furious. Of course I love you right now, Karina tried to console him. But you were my first. Miran pouted and kept complaining childishly. Is he still Aline? He asked seriously, like he would instantly go and beat him. Seeing that she will only make it worse, Karina made up excuses and ran away. Miran sighed as the butler approached him. Fong, I heard that a woman's first love holds great meaning to her. Yes, of course, butler replied. So you must be good to lady. Let me ask again, Miran interjected. Is it true you can't forget your first love? Yes, generally, the butler replied. Then what must I do to make Karina forget about her first love? Miran asked, burning with fury and worry. Not like she will forget him if I chop off his head and bring it to her as a monster. Realizing the situation, FRNG tried to console him. It's simple. To forget your first love, one must fall in love again. Lady has probably forgotten about her first love. Miran felt calm. Go find out who was Karina's first love. Miran's command left the butler flabbergasted. It'd be troublesome if he's alive. Find out before I return from the hunt. Come to think of it, does Lady Karina know that you roughed up Count Leopold and his son this morning before kicking them out? Fong asked. Miran trot back to this morning when he beat up Enfridge. He told them if he could manage to touch his body even once with the sword, Miran would grant a wish, but Enfridge failed miserably. Your Grace, please stop, Count pleaded for his son. Does it hurt? Karina suffered at least dozens of times more. You neglected your daughter, but protect your son. Do you think the wounds that cannot be seen are not wounds? Why were you so cruel to Karina, Count? Miran jabbed at them. Please let us stay here, the Count pleaded, but Miran just asked them to forget her and kicked them out the north. Back in her room, Karina felt so guilt about not being Miran's first love, thought she did nothing wrong. Sighing, her thoughts drifted to Norton. Then she thought if Abelia is still waiting for her, but she also wondered why Nocturne came here. He would never leave Abelia alone out of concern. She wondered why he stayed behind. Then she started panicking, pacing around the room. What if Norton says something weird to Miran? Must I go stop him? I don't want to meet him. Karina suddenly realized that thinking about Norton doesn't hurt her heart anymore. Smiling, her thought turned to Miran. He looked cute when he was upset. She thought about painting something to gift to Miran and sat down to draw. She decided to paint the end of winter and Aurora Miran talked about, but whenever she thought of that cliff, a dragon comes to her mind, and before she knew she had drawn a ferocious dragon. But before she could finish it, her pencil broke. At the moment, Carlos came looking for her. It looks like you are drawing again, he stated. You look terrible, Carlos, Karina said, noticing his haggard appearance. I was experimenting all night, he replied. What kind of experiment? I think Heron has the power to cancel the miracle made by art. If I found out how to revert a miracle, a piece of art can be completed. Carlos felt proud. You didn't test it on yourself, Karina's remark stabbed him. Of course not. Nervously, he shifted the topic to Karina's painting. Is this a dragon? He asked. Where did you learn about dragons? I didn't. Karina had only heard about them from Miran. I just had a feeling that it would look like this, so I drew it. Carlos once again marveled at Karina's talent. Her imagination was amazing. Are you planning to sell it as well? He asked. No, I want to gift it to Miran, she replied shyly. When Miran left for the hunt, she promised to gift him something. Miran is lucky to receive such a masterpiece, Carlos commented, but I can't finish it for some reason. I feel it's because I miss Miran, Karina smiled. Well, I have heard he is coming back with Hetty right now. Oh great, then let's go greet him. Karina got up happily, but before they could leave the room, an attendant rushed in announcing Miran's arrival. The Duke is back, but he is badly injured. A feeling of dread rushed to Karina and she rushed downstairs. In the hall, everyone was running around at Dr. Winston's command. What happened? Carlos asked the injured Gordon. When the leader of Hetty was cornered, he started killing other Hetty and eating their heron. It became incredibly strong. I am sorry. I failed to look after his grace, Gordon said apologetically, clearly blaming himself. Listening to Gordon, Carlos was bewildered. Are herons more than just a life source? If they have other functions, then his thoughts drifted to the potential of heron as he asked Gordon to go rest. Karina's mind, on the other hand, took a dark turn. Miran was collecting herons to save her, but he should have prioritized his own life. Karina blamed herself, but putting aside the thought, she went to see Miran first. Doctors were still frantic over his injuries. He was bleeding profusely. Karina rushed in, parting the crowd, only to see him lying in his own pool of blood. Seeing his condition, she became frantic. Crying, she begged Carlos to heal him. He once said his miracle could heal people. Carlos too wanted to help, but he couldn't. Karina, I lied earlier. I experimented on myself to figure out how long a heron would be able to prevent miracles, so I can't right now. Carlos felt at a loss. He never thought he won't be able to use his ability when it's needed the most. Karina felt like someone plunged into icy cold water, and she was surrounded by darkness, losing all hope. Heron should have never existed in this world, she cried as she grabbed Miran's bloodied hand. If we had never known about them, then Miran wouldn't be like this. Suddenly, she heard a dark, mad voice from deep inside her. How much longer are you going to blame Heron? He became like this because you were greedy. Why does this happen to everyone you love? He may end up dying. How does it feel to be the one who pushed the person you love to death? The mad voice laughed. That's not true, Karina managed a small voice, choking back her sobs, but she clearly didn't believe her own words. Don't make excuses. You are the one who led him to his end. It's your fault. You did this. The voice kept laughing, pushing Karina deep into the abyss.